Hi guys, I'm Adam from What Culture and I'm joined by Michael Sidgwick and Andy Murray from What Culture to preview this Sunday's pay-per-view, Hell in a Cell. Now guys, let's just jump straight in, right in on the pre-show. Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin against the Hype Bros. This seems relatively straightforward in terms of Gable and Benjamin need their first sort of official pay-per-view win, and by the looks of it, the Hype Bros are going to be splitting apart. Is it that simple?
R.I.P.
Yeah, I really think it is. This just seems like a vehicle to hasten the split. I, for one, will be very, very glad. Kind of tired of these. You know, we get the same old tease angle every other week, every time these guys appear on TV.
And it's always really obvious as well what's actually going to happen, because they really like exposition and foreshadowing. Yeah. It's like they really look grumpy all the time. It's like, well, it's not going to end well.
Yeah, you just want to tell them to cheer up. But, you know.
Get the horrible feeling that the WWE think that Mojo Rawley is going to be elevated out of this and Zack's just going to disappear. Whereas Zack going heel, in theory, which is what we assume is going to happen, could actually do massive things for him.
Yeah, I think he's got the personality to pull this off. It's a completely new role for him. I've always been of the opinion that he's quite an obnoxious guy. I know you're meant to think he's this really nice sort of guy, but I honestly think he's got the range to pull this off.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's something we haven't seen him do. So
yeah, at least there's that.
Exactly.
And Gable and Benjamin just slowly getting built up, I suppose, as a team.
Yeah, I mean, we saw them defeat the Hype Bros with relative ease on SmackDown a few weeks ago. I can't imagine they'll have any trouble here. And the WWE will probably use this as a vehicle to show some new cohesion between the two, I guess.
Yeah. Indeed. Right, let's move on to the main card for Hell in a Cell. Randy Orton versus Rusev. We've had 20 seconds of these two fighting officially so far. It's going to go longer than that, isn't it?
Oh, it has to.
Yeah, 12 to 15 minutes, I would say.
Yeah, I think so too. Minutes. I mean, we've no real way of telling what the match itself is going to be like. We can guess about how they might book it and piece it together, but you know, these guys have never really wrestled at each other for any great length of time. We've got 20 seconds of evidence, like you say. So, I think that, you know, Randy Orton is a guy they love to protect and they love to give the big wins to. And you know, he lost the title in the summer and didn't get it back from Jinder, so they'll probably throw him a bone here, I think.
Yeah, in terms of match quality, sorry to interrupt there. In terms of match quality, I'm not sure this is going to be very good. Orton usually excels against smaller, lighter, more athletic opponents. Not that Russo isn't, you know, got a good touch for a big man, as they say in football circles. I just don't think he's quite got the range for Orton to excel. Not his fault, Orton's.
Is this the match that we should have got at SummerSlam, basically?
No, I would have made it even longer.
Yeah, I suppose. In terms of the build for this, I really enjoyed the Rusev.
Yes.
Happy belated Rusev Day, I should say.
Thank you.
Yeah. The build for this has been very interesting. I'd love to see someone like Aiden English sing Rusev down to the ring.
Yeah, I love Aiden English.
Huge fan.
Just love him.
Huge fan of his.
Is he your favourite wrestler, do you think?
Yes. Possibly on this card, yeah. But I assume you're saying going with Randy as well for this?
Yeah, they just love him, don't they? Yes. They love him, and they just see Rusev with one dimension, foreign menace, who's there to make the real stars look good. Unfortunately,
I'm gonna go against you, even though my head is screaming that I should agree. I'm gonna hopefully think that WWE will finally see that Orton doesn't need the win.
No, he doesn't.
And Rusev really could do with something to elevate him onto the next thing, and him being this, you know, as he wants to call himself, sort of another new legend killer. It'd really help him, but we have to wait and see. Next up, Booby Rude against Dolph Ziggler. I suppose this is just kind of a repeat for Dolph, isn't it? It's sort of what you did with Nakamura, do it again with Bobby, but make the match slightly more entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope they don't go down that route. I think that Nakamura match really, really failed to get Nakamura over. For his first match, I thought he should have come out and dominated a guy like Ziggler. That's probably not the way I'd go. I also think there's a really high chance that they'll bury this in total nonsense. Yeah. We're going to get another goofy ring entrance, which might be fun. But mid-match, I don't know, Dolph's dedication to the banter is a little bit too high at the moment. I don't think he'll be too focused on producing a good show, unfortunately.
There have been rave reviews from this on the house show circuit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So, you know, it should be good. It's one of those where, Rude Bless him. And I love this kind of match, but he kind of excels in a sort of really methodical, which is a euphemism
Yes.
for boring match. Whereas Ziggler bumps all over the place. So I've kind of got high expectations that they might be able to mesh quite well, bring out the best in each other. So hopefully they don't just do a 70-30 like they did with Nakamura.
Yeah, exactly. I was I was very disappointed with that. I was trying to convince myself that the Nakamura match was good, and then everyone else just said, "Yeah, it's rubbish."
Yeah, it was rubbish.
But I admit, I think if anyone's going to make the first match that they want to put Bobby Roode on official, main WWE pay-per-view is going to make him look good. It's a man who has several compilations online of him just selling. So let's hope for the best here. And I dread to think what on earth they're going to give Dolph for his entrance.
I think they're going to do Bobby's entrance with Dolph.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Actually, would it?
But then they'd be... I don't know, man. I don't know if they'd essentially want to run the same entrance twice.
The thing is, though, the only way that would work is if they made it like intentionally naff. And the problem is like the entrances that he's been doing on SmackDown of late, like they're not really like camp enough to be funny. They're just really like pitched seriously, so it's bizarre. Yeah. So I don't know what they're going to do, but the match hopefully will be all right.
Yeah.
Tell you what. If Aiden English isn't singing Rusev to the ring, you can still sing Dolph to the ring.
Hey.
The US Championship match, AJ Styles versus Baron Corbin. I was quite excited about this match until SmackDown this week, when randomly, in a match that you would expect Baron to win to give him some momentum going into Hell in a Cell, he gets beaten by a roll-up by Ty Dillinger.
Yeah, it's odd. I mean, I know they've been keeping AJ from wrestling on television, so they've substituted Ty into this, which I don't have a problem with. I like Ty Dillinger a lot, but he does feel kind of like a third wheel at the moment, which leads me to wonder if perhaps there's more to come from this feud with him involved. It seems like if they just cast him adrift at the moment, especially after pinning Corbin, it would just feel like a waste.
Yeah. It's almost a shame because the only match that Baron Corbin's had that's bordered on not being average at best was the triple threat with Styles and Ziggler.
Yeah, great
very
match.
early this year. So if they had Ty Dillinger occupy that role, then this would actually be something worth looking forward to, as opposed to just a sore back for AJ Styles.
Yeah.
Having to carry the dead, boring weight that is Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
Do we see Baron at all getting the title here? Maybe to just surprise people, perhaps?
I can see it. They've spent the past few weeks, 2 weeks ago was an exception when you came out of the show looking good, but they've spent the past while kind of booking this guy to go under, making him look like a bit of a goof. Lots of losing positions. He lost the briefcase, obviously. Lost to a roll-up this week and blah, blah, blah. This is the kind of thing, they do this quite a lot where they build a guy up and then they pull this surprise shock win, when in reality they've just booked a guy to win who nobody cares about.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I've got no real high expectations for the match. I'm thinking AJ Styles wins. Because I just don't think they've forgiven him yet. I don't think they've forgiven him yet.
I reckon what may happen here is AJ wins, but wins by disqualification. Baron hopefully will finally be allowed to sort of bring out that vengeful, angry side that we've all been begging for after he's so frustrated, obviously, with, as you say, losing the briefcase or not cashing it in correctly, let's say, and just being beaten handsomely by John Cena. So hopefully, that then builds to another match. I know obviously the next one would presumably be Survivor Series, the next SmackDown. It's not SmackDown only, but
next.
That, and hopefully, like you say, triple threat. I can see sort of echoes of the old Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Benoit thing where Styles and Corbin are so concentrated on each other. Wishful thinking, I know.
Yeah, lofty comparison.
Yeah,
as well.
Styles and Corbin are so concentrated on each other that Ty maybe could sneak in and get the title.
I can see
there's
it.
scope for storytelling there. So hopefully they go
100%.
that route at some point.
They won't. AJ Styles won't. Natalia versus Charlotte Flair, the battle of the Queen versus the Queen of Hearts, the SmackDown Women's Championship. Now, we spoke about this before, and I described it as a match that potentially could be one of the best matches of the night because people are sort of overlooking it with all the other things that are on this card. But will it be given enough time to be that?
I personally don't think so. I mean, the thing is, their NXT Classic from 2014, that was only 60 minutes long, and they told a better story than so many 30-minute matches do. They've clearly got it in their lockers to pull off a Classic here, but the way they're booked and the way they do the match layouts on the main roster in comparison to NXT just doesn't really fill us with much optimism.
Yeah, I completely agree. That NXT match for me is a benchmark for women's wrestling. I think it compares favourably with anything that the Women's Revolution has produced on the main roster and in NXT. It's a fantastic match. Their propensity to ruin great matches with stupid endings and crappy layouts is too high, I think.
Well, just look at the Montreal Screwjob stuff that they pulled in 2016.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I mean, that's closer to what we're going to get than the NXT match, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And it's the first PPV meeting on the SmackDown side of things. Very rarely do they end conclusively, so I'm expecting Natalia to just walk out at 12 minutes, do the fake count-out thing.
Yeah, I can see it.
And there was me hoping for... My prediction for this was going to be potentially a Charlotte win, followed by a Carmella cash-in. Complete with James Ellsworth on a lead. That's a thing that's happening in 2017. But I can see that. I think, like you say, this feud has got legs.
Aim low.
It's weird.
Yeah. You'd be satisfied.
Dinner's in the oven.
It's weird in a way because, you know, with the stars that they've got on SmackDown, especially like Charlotte and Becky, they're a bit, in my eyes, a bit like sort of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. In terms of you could just keep doing that match over and over. I'd love to watch it. I know a lot of fans would still love to watch it. I like the fact that they've put the belt on someone like Natalia. I think she merits it, her overall work. And we mentioned there before, her skill in the ring obviously merits it. It's just whether or not they give her the opportunity and say, right, you can do all these spots, or whether they just go, look, like you say, go 12 minutes, keep it simple, then after that,
do
walk
some
out,
headlocks
and then, you know, it's only on the undercard as well as at least 3 other matches that they'll want to devote the most talking points to.
And as much as they are fantastic at doing this, a match that presumably would be centred quite a lot on submissions could really kill it as
They'll
well.
just go really broad, I think.
Yeah.
There'll be like no subtlety to the storytelling.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think you'll see 7 or 8 different sharpshooter attempts, bunch of figure eights. Yeah.
Right. The first Hell in a Cell match at Hell in a Cell will be for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. The New Day defending against the Usos. Now, this is one of those where I've heard people talking about it in terms of the story of how these teams have been fighting doesn't merit it going in Hell in a Cell, but the amount of work that they've put in, absolutely, it should be like a reward to them almost.
I completely agree. I think that the matches these guys have been having on pay-per-view and the no DQ street fight, whatever it was.
Sin City street fight.
Thank you, sir. That's
How can you forget WWE in alliteration? I mean, it's unforgivable.
Gee whiz, I've gone to lunch. Those matches steal the show on every show they're on. They're fantastic, and they seem to, the pay-per-view bouts at least, seem to get better every single time. I have complete faith in these two. This is my favourite feud in the company. I think it's excellent.
Yeah, I think this match could rival or equal Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne as WWE's match of the year. They've wrestled so many times, but they've managed to keep it so ridiculously fresh, and I think they'll work really inventively within the stipulation. I think this is going to be absolutely a classic.
Now, from the Wikipedia page that I've stole this card from, it has Big E and Kofi being the 2 men from the New Day. Is that going to be happening, or will Xavier?
No, it's got to be Kofi. I think in that environment, he's going to really excel with his like stupid spots. So.
And Big E's a good power base to contrast. Like, you know, the Usos have slowed down quite a lot since becoming heel, which is great. I love their characters. But he's still a good contrast. They're still quite athletic. Some of the spots they pulled off, like that stupid, was it a Death Valley driver pop up on the apron last time? It's ridiculous. But it's good to have a guy like E who can contrast that with some crazy slams and power bombs and stuff. So
I feel like I should mention as well the promo that the Usos cut on SmackDown this week, where, you know, usually if you've got, they say like, go out there, you've got a match, but you can't really lay hands on each other, just talk it up. You know, them reading the rights to the New Day. I didn't have a great deal of hope for it, but then, you know, obviously they talked about the Uso penitentiary and stuff, but they were so intense. Their mic work has got so much better with the time they've been given. This is a team who used to come out and do the hacker.
Dancing hip hop goobers.
They were loathed about 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's so completely tired of them, and they've just done miraculously well.
It's amazing,
I know this has been billed as sort of a conclusion to this feud, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. I don't hear any fans saying, "Oh, you know, finish up with this feud."
No, it's I could watch these two teams wrestle every pay-per-view for all I'm concerned. I mean, they guarantee a good match every time.
Yeah,
and
a better match each time as well. It gets better and better.
Yeah, precisely. And, you know, at a time when we're getting served dross like 20-minute Baron Corbin singles matches, I'll take this any day of the week.
Yeah, absolutely.
New Day retain though.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I'm a sucker for backstage rumours, and I'm a sucker for cynicism. And by all accounts, they want the New Day to break. I think it's a Dudley Boys record, cumulative titles. So I think they'll lose to the Usos, and then they'll just...
Right.
And
Cheeky
then
bit
it'll
of
get
hot shotty.
really boring in about 6 months, but for now, for once,
we
I'm
will go.
optimistic.
We all know what's happening now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think either way, I think the New Day are going to win this, but I think regardless, if that's sort of the end of them with the Usos, I don't know who they bring up next to take on the New Day. I think the Usos could go down and have a great feud with the likes of Gable and Benjamin if what we mentioned earlier happens.
That's probably why they're doing that
Build
match,
them
I
up.
think.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be an awesome match, man.
Right. The match that probably should be in Hell in a Cell, but isn't. The WWE Championship match. Jinder Mahal with the Singh brothers against Shinsuke Nakamura. The build to this, can I say, has been horrible.
Yes.
Yep. It's been a throwback to the very worst of historical WWE programming, hasn't it? With these, I won't repeat what
You all rook the same.
Thank you.
That's one of the many things that he said. I said recently in a podcast that if they'd kept going after stuff like that the next week would have been them with the Simpsons Flappy Dicky because they had nowhere else to go.
Yeah. I mean, it's been grim. The average Jinder feud format is, he comes out, he cuts the same promo every week, and blah, blah, blah. The Singh brothers will jump the guy from behind.
Why haven't they been fined yet? They do it every single time they haven't been fined. I mean, it's absolutely stupid.
Yeah, Mr. Bryan and Mr. McMahon aren't going to look too good at their next
Well,
employment
Shane
review.
McMahon's too busy caring about himself.
We'll
true.
get to that, don't
Yeah.
you
He's
worry.
running an absolute lunatic asylum, the man.
Is this almost like, Muhammad Hassan light, but because if he'd said what he was saying about himself is kind of valid, that he has to sort of turn it and make it all jingoistic and, let's talk about Shinsuke and make, like you said, these really obvious jokes.
Just
And
indulging the inner core of racism under the guise of, this is not racist, though.
Yeah.
And it's just disgusting
Yeah,
stuff.
it's just-
No one cares, and that's the thing. Like, no one in the audience, cares at all.
Yeah.
They were chanting, "That's too far," after Mr. Miyagi, so they care more about their childhood memories than they do about racism. So
Yeah.
no one cares, and the match is going to be terrible. I've
Oh,
lost
yeah.
all faith, abandon all hope.
The match is going to stink. I mean, Jinder, I wouldn't say positive on his reign, but I've seen some things that I like about it. I think he does carry himself like a champion, but he's terrible in the ring. He moves like a broken action figure. He's a
Big boots, rest holds, we're
Exactly.
20 years removed from it, 30 years removed from it.
yeah, he's a clunky preliminary level worker in a main event slot.
now, I'll hold my hands up. I wanted Jinder to win the title. But, before you leap all over me, the only reason why was because I didn't want Randy as champion. I would have taken anyone as champion.
Fair.
Maybe not Ellsworth, but I'd have taken near enough anyone else as WWE champion, just so I didn't have Randy as champion. But I didn't mean it as in, put the title on Jinder,
what
that'll
you've
be
done.
funny for 6 months. I wanted like a month, and then he just, he's a
Yeah.
placeholder, and then you pass it on to
Not
whoever.
for banter purposes.
Surely, I know, again, wishful thinking, surely Shinsuke takes this.
I don't know, man.
No, I mean, I hate to be like the downbeat guy, but they've just announced a tour of India. They haven't done
Yeah.
that. Yeah, they haven't done
Yeah.
that to just take the title off him. I mean, the company's completely backwards, but
Yeah, I mean, there's talk of him holding it all the way to WrestleMania as well, which, I mean...
hopefully it's equalised by the dwindling attendances.
Oh, yeah.
Because those pictures are really depressing. They're really stark and they're really damn. It's an indictment of the whole experiment.
they-
And I've said this before in some of my articles, but it actually makes zero sense because the broadcast WWE pay-per-views on free TV in India.
Yeah.
Even if they abandon that, and I don't think they are because they'll have contractual reasons not to, there's no streaming services culture.
Yeah.
And the broadband speeds are terrible, even if they were suddenly to become a thing. The only way they can monetize it, really, is with this tour, so he's probably going to keep the title.
But even with this tour, surely, clutching at straws here, surely they can just have him chase the title. They've got Starrcade, obviously, coming up.
Yeah.
So have Shinsuke win here, defend at Starrcade, and then doing this India tour, just have that match.
It's
but
a Raw tour. So, sorry, mate. So, no, it's a Raw tour. So, basically, one thing you might get is Jinder Mahal versus Brock Lesnar, and he's going to bring it home for India by beating Brock Lesnar. It's going to get worse before it gets better, mate. Okay.
Speaking of which, Shane McMahon against
Oh.
Kevin Owens in a... Apparently, Falls Count Anywhere. That means there's going to be a spot, by the way. Falls Count Anywhere, Hell in a Cell match. I've got a weird mix of emotions to this, and it splits directly down the middle. Kevin Owens in this feud has been magnificent.
Yeah, he's been so good.
But
oh yes,
he's up against
The hardest man
the
alive.
sweatiest man in the WWE, the Shane McMahon. I mean, really?
I'm one of these people who has a huge problem with Shane McMahon, a part-time wrestler, does 2-3 matches a year, full-time executive going toe-to-toe with Kevin Owens, who has at times throughout his career been portrayed like a killer.
Yeah.
This guy's a sociopath. You've seen some of the things he's done to Sami Zayn. If you dive into his indie career, which isn't canon, it's nasty. The idea that this guy can come out of his office chair and trade strikes, I love his strikes, they're fantastic, and submissions with this guy who has deliberately gone out of his way in WWE canon to injure people and end careers is ridiculous. It's absurd.
Do you know what really angers me? There's several things.
Yeah, so.
But do you know what really angers me? Is like the blueprint for this whole feud, especially like this week on SmackDown, he gets put through a merch table, pop-up powerbomb through a merch table, I should say. Put through a merch table, headbutted. He keeps coming, and then he gets another pop-up powerbomb. And previous to this, he said, you know, Kevin, you're going to be locked in Hell in a Cell with me.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
You take anyone else in the company and put them in that match, that's great. That's putting them over.
Yeah.
Like, as I mentioned him before, Owens Zayn in this, if Zayn is representing Shane or whatever, or the company or whatever, then I'm absolutely fine with this, and it works. But it's Vince, it's your son. This like sycophantic booking of yourselves to always have to be the heroes, and I think like you've mentioned before when we were talking about this, he's going to get cheered.
Yeah,
like I know we're the smocks, so we're the ones who
I just don't get it. Do you know what really annoys me about this? Like what really annoys me about this whole thing, but particularly last week, it's just the contempt they have for the audience.
Yeah.
They've basically came out and said, right, it's going to be a false count anywhere stipulation because you thick idiots we're going to do the spot just in case you didn't get it through your thick little heads that they've kind of said it already on TV. I'm going to powerbomb you off the cell or whatever he said. They have to underline it because they think we're so stupid. All right, by the way, we're going to do the spot, guys.
Yeah. Now, people moan about part-timers coming into the company and doing phenomenally well. I think it has worked in the past. You know, Goldberg is a great example of that.
Yeah.
But my real issue, along with all the other stuff I've mentioned here, is the fact that Shane McMahon will come in, like he did against AJ, like he's going to do against Kevin and has been doing. He'll come in and do, as you say, this massive spot, whether it's be falling off the cell or whatever, right? And he thinks, that's great, everyone's going to talk about that, which they will, which will take all the attention of all the other guys on this card, all the other guys in the company are doing amazing things, right?
Yeah.
But the reason he can do stuff like that is because he is a part-timer. He is, for 99% of the time, he is the authority figure. So he can come, take a massive bump, take a fall off the cell against The Undertaker or something here against Kevin Owens and rest up. He can rest up for 6 months or whatever. Yes, all right, maybe he'll be on SmackDown next week. But all he's got to do is come out there, look cool, everyone cheers him for his ridiculous spot and book some matches. The reason why the guys aren't doing spots like this is because they can't. You can't do all these massive spots and then still do 3 or 4 house shows that week and come out on the TV the week after and wrestle a 10, 15-minute match. Yeah. So him doing all this stuff, they think, oh, this is great, it gets all the attention. It just draws the attention away from the people who are, at the end of the day, the people you should be focusing your company on.
Couldn't agree more. That was a tremendous promo. You should send that to Vince McMahon. Might get a job. It's a match for a GIF, isn't it? It's a match for that spot.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It's the best I think we can hope for is it'll be a fun car crash or a stunt show, like some of Shane's old matches. I wasn't too high on the WrestleMania match with AJ. I know a lot of people loved it. That's fine. I see why. My worry is that they're going to go 50-50 with all these stupid MMA exchanges, and Owens is going to slap Shane in a headlock for 10 minutes. And
they should follow the template for King of the Ring 2001.
Yeah, man.
Where basically that's the only Shane McMahon performance I thought was absolutely bang on.
Yeah.
Because he portrayed himself as someone vastly inferior who just had a massive heart, and that's the only logical way you can frame that character, as opposed to now where he's legit like the hardest guy in the company. And the most confident, hardest guy. So yeah, follow that template and it should be good. But the thing is, they won't, because they think the fans love the idea of Shane as this like ultimate killer, which is just absolutely stupid.
Yeah, it is.
Please tell me the hero isn't going to win this one.
Nah, because the winner's not going to matter. The GIF is going to matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to
Yeah.
do the GIF, Owens will win, and Shane will get the attention afterwards.
I'll tell you what, all would be forgiven for this match. All I want to see is Shane McMahon getting pop-up powerbombed through the cell. I'll take that. He can have that spot because that at least gives something to Kevin Owens.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll make him look like a killer.
It's best of both worlds scenario, that.
Yeah. I'm with that 100%. I can take that.
We live in hope.
We surely do.
And
I don't.
and we get fashion files at Hell in a Cell, so it's not all bad news.
Oh, yeah, I love
Yeah,
that. I do
love
like
those
that.
boys. Love those boys.
Let's hope that saves us from some interesting matches at Hell in a Cell. My thanks to Michael and to Andy. Let us know your thoughts and your predictions in the comments section below. Enjoy Hell in a Cell on Sunday, if you can. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you soon.
Bye. Yo.